I'm gonna put my foot through someone's cock nozzle. So, Pragmata is being released today. And there's already controversy news being spun up from old news that is just non-contextual to a week ago. The simple TLDR, if you're too lazy to pay attention, is that it's getting the exact same treatment as Stellar Blade, but this time it is being pedo-jacketed by people who have absolutely zero things to say that are positive about the game. They're just accusing the alleged male gamer audience it's being, quote, crafted for as being pedophiles, when it's literally just Bioshock in space. But here, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the top. So we've got several different angles to attack here. The first angle we have to attack is the accusation of the looks like an adult woman fetish. Because the character isn't drawn and or stylized and or made to look like a teenage, preteen character like that of Riley from Inside Out, allegedly that means this game was designed for pedophiles. And the male audience that it allegedly is being pandered to are pedophiles. So we already have pedo-jacketing out of the gate. Then, we have people who are responding to the accusations, despite the fact there are 0 sex scenes. It is wholesome dad-daughter writing, but they still call it child porn anyways. You have the original stories from February of people going on to Pragmata and flooding the Reddit with alleged sexualized content, but it never says what users were doing it. The lolicons were doing it, to troll them. But they're completely separate from the story, you see, because even then, users would just accuse them of having done it, and accuse them of having said it, despite there's no evidence to demonstrate as such. So, you have the examples here from various other situations, namely examples like that of the Wolverine and shit like that. And you have users saying things such as, I believe it's a breach of ethics at this point to design child characters for an audience of majority male gamers, so they made CP of her that had to be banned on Reddit. And every single piece of the conversation, extending from there, comes from the accusation of, it was always iffy that Diana looked nothing like a real kid, being modeled after an adult woman, has no makeup, and is allegedly a pedophile's idea of a child, upon which the watermelon flag lovers decide to pat themselves on the fucking head. Meanwhile, they are saying to people that are talking, allegedly, this person is a pedophile if they have a joke post about how to not carry your wife. Despite this, you have the back and forth over a lot of things. You also have a story of censorship in the middle. So, because the character basically is a 7-year-old android, you have people that are basically coming out of the woodwork to say every other case of a father-daughter dynamic is also the case of pedophile, which is weird, because why is that an argument that people are making? That prognostication doesn't even fucking make sense in context. So you're telling me that The Last of Us is pedophile-coded, Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2, Bioshock Infinite is pedophile-coded, you're telling me that Logan is pedophile-coded, you're telling me that The Professional is pedophile-coded, even though that is a Luc Besson film. You're telling me that The Walking Dead Telltale series, and every other example of a male-female or brotherly or a female male-child relationship is pedophilic. But no, it's only when the Japanese company does it, you see, Carl. Carl, it's when the Japanese people do it. Because there are various other examples. Donkey Kong Bonanza is now pedophile. Monsters Inc. is pedophile. Old Looney Tunes is pedophile. And of course, Dadivore, Dadivoy is now pedophile. In the same context. Except it's not. Because allegedly, when it appeals to alleged men, that's when it becomes not pedophilic, even when the work itself is being written through a feminist dog lens for the Longhouse, and everything is filtered through feminist language and feminist dialectics. It is the biggest dog shit I've seen this year in the last 4 months in this fiscal quarter. Because, of course, you then have the other side of the argument, which is that people are going out of their way to label individuals who like this as being misogynistic, pedophilic, allegedly, blah, 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 blah. And then, that brings you to things like the Kotaku article that has already been written, and has annoyingly been written about the alleged accusation of the Pragmata's Cryana Twitch badge courting the lolicon crowd. An emote of Diana sobbing being interpreted as a reference to the famous Uwo meme. Where does this come from? Well, this comes from a person making an accusation without any reference and effort on a locked post, claiming that it's proof, saying this is a reference to the popular meme about enjoying cartoon child porn, and then everybody else quoting it and claiming that people are annoyed at what people are referencing in all of the replies. Meanwhile, there are no hidden replies, but there are people who are quoting. And from the quotes, you either have people who are quoting him and doing cytogenesis, saying, I can't believe that this is what this is, with absolutely zero evidence and proof that demonstrates the point. Many people saying, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Many of them, of course, being watermelon pastel flag lovers. But then a lot of people having to explain, no, actually, it's not. You just have an entirely separate community that are celebrating separate from you. And actually, you're referencing something that isn't applicable here because there's no energy even being referenced from it. Quoting myself, first off, no, it's just a custom crying emoji. It's not referencing uwo because it's not even the right facial expression. Two, secondly, locked replies, no hidden replies, meaning it's a false claim and cytogenesis is happening in order to make this false claim true in the mind of most people. And there is an entire way to tell in which a meme is meant to be based on cunny and woe, because it's not. The lolicons did not plant this as a seed. This wasn't a 4chan, Reddit, Kiwi Farms op. Progressives, alleged liberals, and far left-minded individuals just saw something, exclaimed that it was true, and just started fucking lying since February. Because allegedly, because it happened on Reddit, that means it's true. And now you have the Kotaku article declaring as such. The amount of retardation, not even mentioning the alleged use of them censoring outfits, which really doesn't even come down to really censorship. It comes down to characters not being happy that the outfits aren't designed the way they think they should be designed, which leaves nothing to say different, because you're talking about a difference of the character has an undercoat and is clearly wearing clothing, so not naked under the clothes, because an android doesn't have body parts to be naked or nude. It wouldn't be naked in the first place, it would just be nude. Smooth like a Ken doll, but also the actual outfit itself, the jacket itself, is supposed to basically be the skin. Because in this image here, the original trailer look, versed on the look that they have here, is more based on the underlining parts of a upper bottom portion of a school lunchbox. There is no panty line. There is no pants. It's literally just legs dangling out of one of the access ports. But of course, on the side of the Stellar Blade comments, you've got outfits, and the alleged outfits that she can wear, the jackets, they've been censored because they've been changed to be not risque. So it goes from cosplay to customs. So it's all just distasteful, and I'm annoyed that it's happening. I'm really annoyed with Kotaku trying to promote this on the eve of the game's release, if not the day of the game's release, because it is a story that is seeking absolutely zero opportunity to really explain itself for what it's worth, which is that it's a complete nothing burger. Because unlike Stellar Blade, where the accusation was, well, they're desexualizing the character, they're stealing the sexuality we were promised! Nobody promised you sexuality in this game. Attempting to say that this game is a pedophile game, and every other example of a parent-child relationship isn't a pedophile game, literally comes down to California good, Japan bad, pedophile Japan, completely normal relationships California and California, Santa Monica writing. You have to go home. You guys have to find real things to complain about. These are not real arguments. These are not real arguments. This is not a real situation. You are just making shit up to be mad about. I'm annoyed. I'm far fucking done and annoyed. All this shit to label people who want to play a fun Bioshock and space simulator because you can't call them incels, so you call them pedophiles instead. I'm done with y'all. I'm done with y'all. Goodbye.